This is my second in the series of how to make Hamantaschen. So before I showed you how to make the filling, and now I'm going to show you how to make the most popular dough. Of course, there's different kinds of doughs and different kinds of recipes, but most of the Hamantaschen you see are made with a basic oil dough. And that's what I'll show you today. It's not difficult, it's a little tricky to work with, but this is the dough that you're going to find most often. Now, the Hamantaschen that you find in the stores, at the bakeries, are no comparison to the ones that you can make at home. They're mass producing them, they're rolling the dough thick, they're cooking their filling, and you have a lot of opportunity at home to fine-tune this and to make them perfect for your family. So I'm going to make up a recipe of the dough, and then we're going to let it rest in the fridge a tiny bit, and then in my next video we'll actually be rolling, filling, pinching, baking. So here we go. So the basic oil dough, and I can't take credit for this, I found it in my Pleasures of My Processor cookbook, and made by Noreen Gillets, and it's a very popular cookbook, and I've had this one for a long time, and there's been new editions of it. But it actually is a very similar recipe to the one I got from my mother, with the extra bonus that you do not have to juice and grate the orange, you can just put it right in the Cuisinart. The recipe only has 6 ingredients: an orange, 2 eggs, 3/4 of a cup of sugar, half a cup of oil, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and it says 2 3/4 cups flour. There you go. So here we go. We're going to start like this. I have an orange that's too big, but I like it because it's thin-skinned and it's a navel orange, so that's fine. I just won't use it all. So I'm going to cut the ends off, discard. I'm going to cut it in half. And to tell the truth, I think I'm going to start with about that. That would be about the same as 1 medium orange. It was quite large. I'm going to take as much white away as I can because I don't really want too much white. And if that means that I have to peel it away, I'll do that. I'll take some of this, I'll put the peel off as much as I can without getting the rind. Without getting the white. I don't want the white. I just want the juice and the rind. And I'm going to let the Cuisinart do the pureeing. Just going to take some of this off like this. That's good. But then I'm going to get rid of the white part, because I don't want that. There might be too much. And depending on your orange, how thin-skinned your orange is, you'll decide to do the same. Just taking some away like that. So I don't want this, that's discarded. This is the peel that I want. I'm cutting this up into sections, like this, into pieces, pieces, into pieces, into pieces, like this, like this, like this, all going into the Cuisinart food processor. And that's the first thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to puree this. I'm recording here. Is there something important you need to tell me? Turn it on and let it go. Scrape it down. Scrape it down. Scrape it down. Okay, so now we're going to add some of the other ingredients. It says to process the orange fine, add the eggs, sugar, and oil. So that's what we're going to do. So here's the eggs, and here's the measuring cup. Now I don't like to crack eggs directly into my mixing bowl. You never know if there's a piece of shell or something will go in, so I like to crack my eggs one at a time. 1, 2, then I can see that I'm not getting any shell or anything in. That's good. Now I'm going to measure the sugar. These are considered the wet ingredients when you're baking. 3/4 of a cup. That's 1. That's 2. And if you see, this scoop is actually a 1/4 cup scoop. It should come to just about 3/4 of a cup. Oh, a little tiny more. That's it. And that's considered to be the wet ingredients. And we're going to let that puree for about, they says 10 seconds, but I'm going to do a little bit longer than that. Oh, I'm glad you caught me. I didn't do the oil yet. That was the eggs, the sugar, the orange, and now the oil is going in. 1/2 cup. We've got a very big yellow liquidy business. But I can see that the orange is all little, you can hardly see it, little tiny pieces of orange peel, and the orange is all incorporated too. So, nice and smooth. Now, we've done the orange, the eggs, the sugar, the oil. Now we're going to measure 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 1. Now a friend of mine says you never measure in a liquid measure flour. That too bad for her. I only use what I have. No one's given back my baking yet. That's 2 cups. It's going in. And now I'm going to do 3/4 of a cup more. Let's see how much that is. About it, tiny more, and into this I'm going to stir my baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So that's quite a bit of baking powder actually for this amount of flour, I think. Usually when you make cookies there's like 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Stir it up into there, and now dump it into this. And now we're going to process it in a few quick turns. It'll be a big, sticky kind of dough. So we don't want to over-process it. We're going to pulse to get it incorporated. And it's a ball already. That's it. And the recipe says, process with several on-off turns just until flour is blended into dough. Do not over-process. Dough will be fairly sticky. And that is exactly what we've got here. So I've got the dough, a big sticky mess of dough, and I'm going to show you how to handle that. We're going to clear away our garbage. This is all garbage. I don't know if I've ever explained to you how much I love wax paper. Wax paper is a big thing in my kitchen. That's that. And I'm now going to pour 2 sheets of wax paper. 1, 2. I'm going to take some flour and I'm going to spread it on this wax paper. I'm going to take my dough and I'm going to put half of it in each. Like this. This. You can see sticky dough. Like this. Sticky dough. And I'm just going to kind of get some of this flour all over it. Just kind of sprinkle a little bit of flour all over it. Press it down into a ball, kind of like this, and you're going to kind of wrap it like this. And that's one little thing of hamantaschen dough. And now we're going to do the same thing to the second one, like this, like this. I'm going to get it all out of here. I'm making faces doing this because it's hard to get it all out because it wants to stick, but I'm going to get it all, pulling the blade out of the Cuisinart, scraping it off, getting it all, scraping it all off, like that. I'm going to get it all off of here. Any dough you leave here is one less cookie, you know that. So, get it all. Okay. It's in the bowl here. I'm a big believer in Rubbermaid, old-fashioned Rubbermaid spatulas. I don't like the spatula that came with my Cuisinart. I like to buy a commercial Rubbermaid spatula. They're not easy to find. I actually found this at a kitchen supply store and bought a few. There is a life to these things. They get cut by the blade, they wear out, they get whatever. So, you see, I got it all. And now the same thing. Flatten it here. Put a little bit of flour on top. We're going to push it down like this. This, a little bit of flour on top, and I'm going to wrap it, and I'm going to put it in the fridge, not for any real reason, not for too long, but just in time, long enough for me to clean up the kitchen to get ready to do the rest of the rolling up. So that's it for now, putting this in the fridge, and well, the next video will be the rolling up video.